a day in our life. Monday, our main computer, our hard drive, died. We kind of knew it was happening. The computer guy, we talked about it 2 times and he wasn't able to make it, and then the big crash. Had to rebuild things, so everything is up and running again. But it's the stresses that happen in all our lives. I should have done something a teeny bit earlier instead of waiting. And I don't know if it's you, but these things happen to us, and they're really good lessons to us when those things happen. So, everything is solved. But the whole idea is, what are you going to let it do to your body? Are you going to have a bad night's sleep? Are you going to get angry? See, you can't change anything when it happens. Yes, you have to pay more, and it's going to cost me more to get it fixed. But you can't survive without our computers nowadays for keeping the data that we have on patients. So it's just one of those lessons that do things in a timely fashion. Now tonight we're going to talk about text neck. Now this is the second talk. The first talk we got into a lot of the things about what hormones will happen, the fact that when your head goes forward, your body produces way too much cortisol. So we're going to do, a teeny bit of a review. If you want the full review, it's on our website. I've already done the talk, and you were either here or you weren't, so I'm not going to redo the talk. But cortisol is an awesome thing if a bear is chasing me. All right, I want cortisol. But when my head is pulled in a forward position, it makes my body produce cortisol, and that's now a bad hormone in my body. It also decreases my testosterone, which is a drive hormone that allows me to do a lot of great things instead of just being tired and not being able to do what you want to do in life. So that's one reason why we want to get people's heads in the appropriate position. Now, I'm going to get started, and the first thing we're going to talk about is my bowling ball bag here. And yes, I do have a bowling ball. I have bowling shoes too. I actually, Linda and I bowl, but I've never beaten her. Maybe I've beaten her once, so she's way better at it. The bowling ball is an incredible analogy when we're looking at it. Now this is a 15-pound bowling ball, so it's a little heavier. So your normal head in someone's body is about 10 to 12 pounds. Now, if I hold my arm like this, I can stay pretty much in this position indefinitely because my arm is straight and I can support the ball the same way that your neck is supporting your head and brain. Now, if I move my arm forward like this, how long do you think I'm going to be able to yeah, it's like everyone gets it, and you're going to see it on my face. Things are going to start to bulge, my color is going to change, and my bicep is going to get big, bigger than it was. And that's because when you're in that forward position, this creates a moment arm. It creates a situation where the muscles and the body have to churn out and do a whole lot of things that they shouldn't be doing on a day-by-day basis. And that's what looking forward to your phone does. First, it stretches your spinal cord, which you probably don't want that done. It affects your hormones, and it creates a whole lot of neck tension. Linda's going to go over some stretches tonight, and she's going to go over a few little massages, some things that you can do at home. Now, this talk is going to be a shorter talk, because part of this talk is going to be, we're all going to go over to the gym, and we're going to do a little bit of exercise. And why do we do exercise? If we exercise, we can strengthen up some postural muscles that will allow you to get in a bad position a little bit longer. So I'm not doing it so you can do this longer. I'm doing it so that it will affect you less in your life. Because if I tell you not to text and not to look down at your phone, you're probably going to ignore me. In fact, the people that really should be here, they're not here. So they thought it was an intervention, and it was all about them, and they didn't show up. So that's what happens when I do a cancer talk, no one shows up because we're like, oh, I don't want to get cancer. Well, you're probably going to get cancer because you didn't come here and listen to the fact that you're doing everything wrong in your life. So yes, we accept that texting is going to happen. We're seeing with the school boards. Some of the school boards are accepting phones now because they know they just can't stop them. My concern is these things cause incredible distractions. They're incredibly addictive, and some people's personalities are incredibly addictive. It's a collision waiting to happen when those things happen. And we see it in our life. You're walking around the sidewalks. Do you ever have to walk around the zombies that are coming right at you and they don't see you? Well, these are the same people in the car that you get behind them on the expressway and they're looking down. You're seeing them in their side view mirror and they're like this. That's because they're texting or reading a text, and they don't understand that that's a bad idea. So yes, there's a lot of bad things that you do that can hurt people quickly, but bending forward is something you can do very quickly to your spine too. So, tonight, we're going to talk about stretches. I'm going to go through the slideshow. We're going to do a workout, and then you need to, and it's not like I forgot there. It's not like I forgot my trend of thought is, when you go home, you need to fill in your own blank. You need to look at what you're doing. If you're not texting, that's great, but if you're not exercising that much, maybe that's not good. If you're not eating properly, see, as a chiropractor, we talk about the 5 essentials of maximized living. I want you to watch your stress level. I want you to keep your nervous system in balance, which means I want your ear to be on top of your shoulder, not like the old lady neck. You see these people in the mall, don't you? Where they walk around, you go, there's something wrong with that person's butt. You don't know what, well, your ear is supposed to be over top of your shoulder. So your shoulders are supposed to be back. You can breathe better. Let's all sit up and we'll do this exercise. So if we sit up straight, and then we take a nice deep breath in, and all the way out. See, that feels natural. Move your head forward just 1 inch. And once again, just an inch. Do you feel the labor and all the way out? That's 1 inch. Here's the kicker. Many of you are already that 1 inch forward. So you just don't know that you're already forward, which means if we could get your head back where it's supposed to be, it would be like breathing the first time, which is like, that would be better, wouldn't it? Yeah, that would be way better because your head's already crept in that direction. So what you need to do is what you need to think about your life. Now, you hear about medicine, they talk about genes. They're stuck in this world of genes where they try to look at which gene is going to keep us alive and which one is going to prevent cancer, thinking that that's the only thing that keeps you alive. First, 80 to 90% of all sicknesses, and I'm talking about cancer, heart disease, diabetes, high blood pressure, all those things can be avoided if you just fix your lifestyle. So to me, it makes more sense to fix your lifestyle first, and then if that doesn't work, go take drugs or have an operation, then go that way. Or you can look at it this way. Things might happen to you, but should you still be eating well and exercising? I'd say, well, yeah, you've got a condition, something happened to you. You should eat well and exercise, because if you don't eat well and exercise, you don't control your stress, whatever condition you have is probably going to be worse. It's not going to be a better idea to eat worse, is it? Yeah, it makes no sense to do that. So they've done research, and centurions, people that live to be over 100, what they found was there's the longevity gene that scientists look at. So there's certain genes that might predict whether you're going to live longer. 25% of these centurions, they have the gene. 75% of them didn't have the gene. So you know what? If you've got the gene, awesome. If you don't, well, maybe you might want to rely on lifestyle anyways. See, medicine's trying to treat diseases one by one by one. I don't think that's a good idea. I think you should have a lifestyle that prevents cancer, heart disease, high blood pressure, and strokes, instead of trying to take on diseases one by one. It just doesn't make sense. See, medicine's taught you that you're a neck, or you're a high blood pressure, or a heart. They taught you that that is who you are. That is what you have. You are a whole person. When people come in here, we don't just look at where you think I should look. So if you went to a dentist and they only looked at one tooth that was sore, would you think you got ripped off? I think I got ripped off, because they look at one tooth and then you'd be back in a few weeks or a few months later and go, oh yeah, I knew that was happening. It's like, well, why didn't you tell me? My job is to tell you. Your job is to figure out what you're going to do with your life. My job is to inform you so that you can make an informed decision, so that you can stay well. So don't get caught in the gene models. So we talked about the 5 essentials of maximized living. You need to have a de-stressed body. You need to have a properly functioning nervous system. You need to eat well. You need to exercise. And you do have to understand toxicity, because there's so many toxic things. You guys see the commercials on TV too. 48-hour antiperspirants. Come on. You're not going to shower? You're not going to exercise? Like, this is what you're telling me. And then I see other commercials. You put on your antiperspirant before bed. It's like, why would you put on your antiperspirant before you go to bed? You go to bed. You're going to wake up and shower in the morning anyways. People are always trying to sell you crazy ideas. And I'll guarantee that antiperspirant, when you put it on your body, if it's going to last 2 days, it's got a lot more chemicals in there. What does that have to do with you? It's a toxic thing you're putting into your body. and these toxins affect your hormones, and those hormones affect your energy levels. You see, if you're doing one or two things, you know, a little off, let's say your stress level is awesome, and you're exercising, and your nervous system's in great balance, you're doing all those, if a couple things you're not doing well, you're going to get away with that for a while. But if you're text necking, and you're not eating right, and not exercising, and under stress, that's more things that are eventually going to go wrong. The medical model, we're waiting for wrong to happen. The chiropractic model is we're trying to avoid wrong by teaching you that you do have options. You know, like I said, the walking with phones. People walk into things. Now, part of tonight's talk is this theme that got stuck in my head while we were planning this talk. Linda always gets nervous when I do a talk because she was saying, yeah, see, that's it, look. See, it was Sunday. She says, you haven't made your slides yet. I said, yeah, they're all up here, don't worry. And I'm putting down, I'm doing some flooring now, so I'm really going to get the flooring done. So I'm doing this talk, and we go out for a few walks, and then the ideas come together, and then boom, it all hits me. It's that cause and effect world that everyone is lying to. And Linda, could you step up here? I want to just teach you cause and effect. Now she's even more worried. Just so you understand cause and effect, because these are just, they're universal laws, they never change. Cause and then effect. See, if I push Linda down, and Linda falls, so I push, her effect is fall. Now the other effect is she gets mad at me, right? Now if I don't push her down, she might still be mad at me, but she might not be mad at me, which would be better. Thank you. Okay. So it's you need to understand visually what cause and effect is, because this is how we work. You do something and there's a consequence to your actions. You know, to me it's really easy. Now medicine's made you believe that yes, there is an effect. They taught you this other thing called a side effect. First, a side effect is not real. There's only cause and effect. A side effect is an effect you didn't like, so they renamed it as something to try to market around the problem. So, when you take a drug, it only affects people. You might not like the effect, but it's an effect. So you have to understand cause, and you have to understand effect. So let's go through a couple scenarios. Let's say someone has a cold and they sneeze on you. My question to the group is, are you going to get a cold? What do you think? Shout the answers out.
Maybe. Depends.
It depends, yes. But should you get a cold?
No.
No, if you're healthy, we should be fine. So in our model, we don't catch colds. I go and create my own colds by altering my lifestyle, by running myself down. See, if I'm strong and a germ is weak, I don't have a problem at all. But when I run myself down, and now a germ can beat me up, now the germ will do that. You know, someday when I die, germs will consume my body. The bacteria will do that. That's what they're designed to. We have billions of bacteria inside our body. Some super healthy, some not quite. But there's this balance that God created. And that's what's supposed to be there. When you put chicken with antibiotics in your body, you throw off your balance. And then you have more of the nasty and less of the nice. And these bacteria, when they get out of balance and when you get run down, that's why people get a cold. That's why your medical doctor didn't die by noon today. Because they see sick people all day, and yet they didn't die. So germs don't make you sick. Germs make sick people sick. Mental note, don't get sick, or don't be sick. Now, we talked about this last week where Monday's the day where there's more heart attacks and strokes than any other day of the week. Any guess why?
Stress at work.
Yeah, exactly. So these people are just so close to dying that the stress of them going to work or dealing with something was enough to push them over the edge. So think about what medicine says. Your heart attacked you. Really? My heart loves me. You know, it's keeping me alive. We've got this really neat relationship where you know, I take care of myself and it gets to pump longer. So that's great news. Why would your heart attack you? See, you're told so many things in the medical model that make absolutely no sense, but you buy in on them. Flus. If someone has a flu, you know, we get so many people rush around and get a flu shot every year because their level of mercury has gotten low, so they need more mercury injected in their body. So yes, there is mercury in the flu shot. So that's one that I would suggest that you might want to consider not taking. Because This is bad for your body. You know, we talk about mercury in fish. So you go to websites, you go to the Health Canada and the CDC in the States, and they'll say, do not consume too much fish. And they'll talk about the level in there. And then you go to the flu shot, which is like 4 times that level. But it's okay if we inject straight into your body. That's better. It's like, well, that's kind of strange, isn't it? So when my dentist puts mercury in my teeth, and if I look up mercury on the internet and it's got a skull and crossbone, since the dentist put it in my tooth, which is like 3 inches from my brain, now that's going to be safe? Probably not, but that's what happens with your mercury amalgams, the black fillings that people used to have. So if you have those, we recommend you get them out of your body. If you want to see any videos on it, go to the smoking tooth. Go to YouTube, put in the smoking tooth, and you'll see this filling. The filling was made 25 years ago. The tooth was extracted. And they hold it in front of a phosphorescent screen, and you can see the mercury off-gassing. And then they heat it up, and you see more off-gassing. This is the problem with mercury. It just keeps off-gassing forever and ever and ever, so you don't want that in your mouth. So, the flu. If someone gets exposed to the flu and then comes in contact with you, should you get sick? Probably not. Yeah, the research is most people are going to fight it off naturally. But the needle gets all the credit when people don't get sick. So, once again, it's this model. Medicine tries to teach you things that are absolute. So then they say, well, let's give it to healthy people so sick people don't get sick. And everyone goes, that's a great idea. You know, unfortunately, there's no science to back that up. So it's just a nice belief system that doesn't work. So you're told things that aren't true. Polio. Now, here's the condition. This is one of those conditions. When you look it up on the internet, polio virus. So it's a virus, they say it's a really contagious virus, and they talk about sanitation. Well, it's like, well, is it the sanitation that was a big part of it? And the research is, yeah, it was water, that drinking water being mixed with, you know, toilet water. This is why people get sick. So if you go to almost any website, they're going to show you how many cases of polio, and it used to be like 80,000 people with polio in 1952, and then it goes down to 40,000 in 53, then it goes to 10,000, then it goes to 5,000. Get this, when you look at the charts, and you go to the internet and find, and this is from the government, and then after it's gone like this, they invent the vaccine right here, and it's like, well, that's a great time to invent it, because if you had tried to invent it 2 years ago, everyone else would have went, well, you don't need it anymore, do you? And it's like, yeah, because 4 years ago, there was 80,000 cases, and then it went down to 20,000, and then it went down to 4,000, and then you came up with the miracle, and it went down to 3,000. So it's not like it went down faster. It just kind of, and you look at this information, and you say, wait a second. We're told these things all the time. What's actually true? My dad used to argue about polio with me all the time and say, Dad, Jeff, he'd say, Jeff, people down the street got polio when he was young. And my dad grew up at a time where insulation was newspaper shoved in a wall. He wore something called scuppers, which were rubber boots that were cut off. That was his winter boot, was a rubber boot. And that's what he wore out on the East Coast. That was his, so you look at it, he carried out the coal. That's how they heated their house, was coal. He carried out the ashes. So, you know, once again, if you look at what causes cancer, you're going to say, well, coal causes cancer. And they were burning this in your house. So no wonder people got sick. No wonder people were more prone to those conditions. So we're under the illusion that, once again, the cause effects, if you get exposed to polio, you're going to get it. Well, my dad knew families with 8 kids, and 1 child would get polio, the other 7 wouldn't. Well, explain that. Well, the reason why is the other 7, our body produced antibodies to them. Because that's the way God designed our body. Now, chickenpox isn't the wild card, because people go, well, then how come people always get chickenpox the first or second exposure? All the kids are supposed to get chickenpox. Well, I go back to that's God's plan. If He wanted you to get chickenpox, you were supposed to get chickenpox, and you were supposed to get it as a child, because that's what happened every time in nature. And now man comes along and says, hey, let's not get chickenpox as a child, and let's see what happens. I will tell you exactly what's going to happen. But why don't you tell me what's going to happen with these people when they get older? They're going to get
Shingles.
Yeah, they're going to get shingles, they're going to get chickenpox. They're going to get a worse condition. Part of our training of our immune system is to learn how to deal with viruses. And that is God's plan. You start changing that, and then you start to see the consequences. See, when we were growing up, measles, mumps, rubella, all those things were totally normal. And then Linda would have caught it, and then when she breastfed our boys were now safe because they got the maternal antibodies. Nowadays, the young children never got measles, so they didn't produce the antibodies, so when they go to breastfeed their baby, if they even are nowadays, they can't infer that to their child anymore. So now a one-day-old baby is now susceptible to conditions that never were before because man stepped in. All right? It wasn't nature. It was a model that was always there and protected. So when we do these things to our body, when we stick our neck forward like this and stay in those positions, and the average person is doing this, or computer work, they're doing this 9 to 10 hours a week. You're going to see
No, it's a day.
a day. Thank you. 9 to 10 hours a day that they're doing this. And some of it between 9 and 10 hours is because they got their phone here and they're on the computer. So they are distracted in so many different ways, they don't even understand what they're doing. And this is not, well, he was at work 8 hours a day. We're not talking about that. We're talking about you go home and you're glued to the screen, your head goes forward, and once again, you can Google this, please not on your phone, because people are doing way too much of this too often, but you can go and you can look at the stats of what this is about. Well, tonight's not necessarily about the stats, it's about you need to change and you need to make better choices. Now, this is how everyone's neck. Can you turn off the front lights here? We can turn off the light over there. That'll be a little better. It's the second light. And then turn the back one on so people don't fall asleep. Good.
You stay away. That's us.
All right. This is how every neck is supposed to look. So this is the different generation. I'm going to go through some x-rays tonight of some younger people. Because Trump yesterday, President Donald Trump, show respect, he actually made some laws about what you can carry on a plane nowadays, and I don't have a problem with that. You're going to go to their country, he can make up the rules. I think that's absolutely fair. If Al-Qaeda is building bombs that now they can fit into the size of a battery in a laptop, then we need to look at these different. So he's not letting certain people travel with laptops nowadays. And there's people complaining that their toddler won't be able to entertain themselves. It's like, these toddlers are walking around with iPads. And so first, that is something that is insane. That these children have to be stimulated that way all the time. They can't communicate, they can't read a book. I see families, they're in a car, they're watching a video, and they're just going to the store. It's like, this is insane. We've never had a car with a video. And part of you always wanted one. Then you go, thank God I don't have one with that, because then you're part of the whole problem here. So this is what every neck is supposed to look like. This is an 86-year-old woman who wandered into my office. By the time she was 88, she needed her first medication to stay alive. But she wasn't on a thyroid and a heart pill and a cholesterol and a diabetic medication. And then this whole pre-diabetes thing. First, there's no such thing as pre-diabetes, okay? So there's diabetes, or you just don't care and you're going to eventually get diabetes. So my point is, why don't you you're not pre-diabetic, just make better choices and you don't become diabetic. So here's the normal curve that everyone's neck is supposed to have. So there is a curve, the head's right over top of the shoulders. Big joint spaces in between there. Now these joint spaces allow the nerves to come out. Why this is super important is the nerves control the muscles and the organs. That neck pain that you have from your texting, that won't kill you. You know what's going to kill you? The fact that your head's forward, your nerves are pinched, and these nerves go to your thyroid, they go to your heart, they go to your lungs. That is the killer. Neck pain's never killed anyone, all right? It makes you uncomfortable. Your body's trying to have this conversation with you, where it's saying, hey, maybe you should stop doing that. And you go, I'm going to keep doing it. Your body is now going to have a louder conversation with you. So this is how we're designed, and yet you keep ignoring it. So now we'll take some Tylenol, now we'll take some Advil. What's your body going to do? It's going to send another message. This is how the communication is supposed to go. The symptom has never been your problem. Now, I'm 27 years and 6 months since I've taken an Advil or anything. So if I can go 27 and a half years without any medication, you can go 2 weeks or 2 months. You just have to change some things in your life to get healthier. So this spine, there is a little bit of arthritis. Now, I want the bones to all be nice and square. This bone is a little bigger at the bottom than it is at the top. So that means that's mild arthritis. This one has a little bit of a curve in it, mild arthritis, and this one has a more pronounced curve. But an 86-year-old with mild arthritis, not a bad thing, is it? See, this is good. Most people think as you get old, you get arthritis. No, you're not supposed to get arthritis. It's a bunch of old people. These are x-rays from this week in my office. This is a 21-year-old who just started care. The neck's supposed to curve this way. Do you guys notice that S-shaped curve there? There's an S-shaped curve. So their neck is supposed to curve this way. Their neck starts that way, and then it goes this way. And then you see how the bones have kicked out here. These two bones have more arthritis than the 86-year-old. And this person's 19, maybe 20. This is what I'm seeing because they were brought up on all the devices.
It's just we're seeing a cluster of these come in.
Yes, this is the new wave of craziness that I'm seeing in the office. That's why it's like alarm bells, we have to do something about this. The people that show up in their 40, 45, their spines typically don't look this bad because they weren't doing it at a young age. We have other hobbies instead of looking at a screen all day. And it's looking at a screen. If we took kids and made them smoke at 7 years of age, we'd have a lot more cancer earlier. It's just, we take kids now, we let them eat sugar all the time. What happens? Well, they seem to be more obese and they're jumping off the walls and and they're sicker than ever before. So these things are bad for them. So there's your first x-ray. Second x-ray. This is a 21-year-old. So once again, the neck curves exactly the wrong way, just like she's made it for all those hours in the day. And do you see the bone growth here? That is way worse than the 86-year-old. So that's a 21-year-old. 19-year-old. See how this is going in the exact wrong direction? There are exercises to prevent this. It would be good to learn those exercises. Is that true? Yeah. So Linda is going to go over some of those later tonight. And then you and Adam are going to video them.
Within 2 weeks we'll have.
Yeah, within 2 weeks. See, you guys are like, oh, I got to get it today. It's like, really? You're going to go home and do it today? Come on. You're not. So I'll give you some other things you can go home and start on today. So don't push this on us as, well, you didn't do the videos. So I don't do anything yet. You go home and do nothing. I'm going to go home and exercise tonight. I think it's a better idea than not exercising. See, look at these necks. And they show up. This person came in and she had low back pain. So, we check her range of motion. Get this, when your neck's stuck forward like this, for some crazy reason you can't turn your head. It's like, well, that's because the joints aren't lined up properly and they're all grinding. So I take the x-ray, I adjust her, and then she's like, I can turn my head. It's like, yeah, you can turn your head, you can breathe better, and you can sleep better. See, when I adjust someone, it's not to fix your tech's neck. It's to remove interference, and then you have the potential of changing your own health by making better decisions. But if you've been locked into this position for too long, you can't do this without some help. So this is why we x-ray, and this is why we re-x-ray. This was an interesting case too, and this one sat bad with us for a few days. This is a 35-year-old who showed up, and her neck, this looks horrible. So I took this x-ray to my chiropractor and gave him a little history. See how all those bones are almost on top of each other? 35. She comes in, her low back hurts, and we take the x-ray and we find this problem. And I said, look, you got a big problem, this is a big problem, and we fix this, your low back's going to get better. And she says, yeah, I want to go. And I was like, okay, go. She texts back later and she says, her emails back later, says, I'm not coming back. I said, well, it's unfortunate, but you really should go see someone else. This is a serious problem to see that much arthritis in your neck. And she says, my cousin's a chiropractor, and he says that I just need to go and get some work done on my low back. So it's like, okay, great. Have to email her back and say, look, that's great. I have to close your file. I appreciate that. But please make sure your cousin sees this x-ray, because maybe he hasn't seen this x-ray. Maybe he doesn't understand. She texted me back, emails back, she says, no, he's already seen it. And it's like, whoa. Yeah. So another chiropractor looks at this x-ray and goes, no, it's your lower back. And to me, it's like getting advice from people nowadays when it comes to diet. Because everyone's going to give you advice on how to eat and what you should be putting in your body. My advice is look at the people that they're the ones you look like you should be listening to. All right? Because everyone's going to tell you what you should do. But if you are eating the right way, then your body is going to work different. And once again, you got to find those people. This was in the paper. I don't know if you guys saw this one. Time for marathon gamers to pause. This is a story about this guy. He started this 24-hour gaming marathon. By hour 22, he was dead. All right. He left to take a cigarette break. at hour 22 and never returned, and they found him the next day dead. And they're asking if this might be something that's concerning. It's like, yeah, I think we're way beyond, it was 34 too. I think we're way beyond concern. So people don't understand the ramifications of their decisions. So the gaming world means you're sitting down on your butt for a lot of time, and you're just gaming. You're probably putting energy drinks in there, cigarettes, and you're not eating well. See, I want you to take time away from what you're doing, looking at a device that's making you stupider. When we were young and someone gave us a calculator, that actually freed up time in our day, all right? Because then you weren't doing long division and you weren't doing that. A calculator was a good idea. The idea behind a smartphone is a bad idea because it's pulling you into its world all the time. Do you see how they try to convince you that this technology is good? No, calculator is great. But this is not a smart decision. Call it a smartphone, call it whatever you want. To me, it doesn't sound that smart. Right? Do you get that? Yeah, this stuff robs your energy. You spend all your time looking down here, now you don't have workout time. Now you didn't prepare your food. What was that website that we heard in commercials this week? It's called Skip the Dishes. So I've heard this commercial on first there was another one, Just Eat. There was a website out a couple years ago in Waterloo. And this one is Skip the Dishes. So they're pretty proud that you don't have to do anything except go to this website and order Famosa Pizza or all these places in town where you can just order your pizza. Then you don't have to do the dishes anymore. And it's like they're trying to make it something that seems like a good idea. It's not a good idea. When you let strangers cook your food, they won't cook it the same way you would have. So you need to find time to go in the kitchen to cook. So yeah, we're talking about text now, Nick, but you'll have more time if you're not doing this all day long. So you have to look at your cooking has become optional. This was in the paper 2 days ago, Jamie Oliver. That's what a lot of people are looking at. It's not optional. You have to learn how to do it. We've taught our kids how to do it. Why did we do that? It was really important that they learn because they might marry someone that doesn't cook at all. So Adam cooks twice a week at our house, and someday it might be 3 times if he's still here. You know? He eats a lot. No, when Mitchell comes home this summer as his younger brother, he's going to be forced to cook twice a week too. So they consume a lot of food. And if Linda was cooking it all, she wouldn't be able to come here and have all this fun with us. She'd have to stay at home till that day go by. So Mitchell will be working here this summer, so it is a true family business. But once again, other people, they don't prepare food. They just buy their food. And that's not the brightest idea. Your best running days maybe you had. Well, this was an interesting article too, because most people, they think about exercising, oh, I'm too old to start. What was that line from Lethal Weapon? I'm too old for this crap. And it's like, well, yeah, Danny Glover, he was. You don't want to be going through those things. But no one's too old to exercise. You have to exercise. My take on exercise is if you choose to not exercise, eventually everything is going to hurt. At least when I exercise, I get to determine what's going to hurt tomorrow. All right? It's going to hurt, but there's going to be benefit to it. Yesterday I rode my bike in, and I was silly enough not to check my phone about the weather. I looked at 10 degrees and went, 10 degrees? So I get changed in my mindset, so I'm already, getting on my bike. And then it was like, hey, it's pretty windy out here, I missed the part of 35-kilometer-an-hour winds with gusts to 50. But it's all right, I was already into this, and I was going to do it, and I already told Linda, and I was like, oh, this is going to be horrible. So I rode here, and it was kind of horrible, but it was a better workout, because I had to fight the wind. It took me a little bit longer. I dropped the bike, and then I ran 2 miles, so a mile out and a mile back. So that was a rather intense workout yesterday. Today's workout is more push-ups, it's some weightlifting. So there's a variety of things that I do in my day, and if you do those things yourself, you'll get better and better at it. But exercise is something you absolutely have to do. This article talks about people who really, see the elite athletes, they're already kind of on the downhill slide. People like me that say, hey, I'm going to start exercising at 40 because that's really when I started. Now, my peak is around 50. And if I do enough harder interval training, which we're going to talk about later tonight, what you'll find out is you'll be able to do more than what these people who are really good at a sport can do nowadays. because I haven't peaked yet. And these people have peaked, and what do they say? They have less gas in the tank. They just don't push themselves the same way. So that's why you can see these pro athletes, and then you see them, and then they're commentators, and they have the big bellies now. You go, this guy used to work out all the time. It's like, yeah, he doesn't work out anymore. Question?
How old are you?
I'm beyond my peak.
Well,
But I haven't pushed myself, so I'm taking a break. So to pause, and now I'm starting to train a little bit harder. I'm on Faith FM. This is my 9th year now. Tuesday at 11:30. They changed it to 93.7 now, not my 94.3. Called Above Down Inside. We talk about health issues and how it impacts your body. Getting started. You need to stop sitting on your butt. You need to stop looking at your phone. You need to make different decisions in your life. Now, what I would like to do, and I hope you want to join me, is head on over to the gym, and we're going to go over some interval training that you can do, and go at your own pace. Now, when we do things like push-ups, I'm going to be able to do more than you because I've been doing it for a while longer. Some of you are going to do 5 or 6 push-ups and you're going to be sore tomorrow. Great. Don't do any push-ups tomorrow, but the day after, try to do 7 or 8. Your body will adapt that quickly. So just because you have pain doesn't mean you can't exercise. So when you start to exercise, your body will work a whole lot better. So go at your pace. We're going to do some interval training, and what you would do, if let's say you're watching your favorite television show and the commercials come on. There's usually about 6 commercials. And if you're watching Dancing with Stars, 4 of them are going to be on drugs. Seriously, some of these TV shows, when you watch them, you go, those are all drug commercials there. It's lyric, oh yeah, and you can die. And you hear the side effects to these commercials, and you go, I really should be taking that? No, you shouldn't be taking that. See, they have to convince you to do the wrong thing. No one has to convince you to eat an apple. What we have to convince you is to go to McDonald's. You see? You know you're not supposed to go there. That's why they have to tell you over and over and over to go to McDonald's. But there's not many good commercials on TV about an apple. Because they know, you're supposed to eat it. So you get that. They're lying on a lot of these commercials. And you look at the side of these drug commercials now with certain types of lung tumors. If you've got this tumor and you've got this and that, we can increase their quality. These people are living weeks longer. And once again, the side effects go on way longer than they're half the length of the commercial. You guys see this stuff all the time. Listen to what they're saying. You need to avoid sickness at all costs. And when your head gets cranked forward like that, that's the road to sickness. I showed you what happens to young people. And it happens way quicker with them than people our age. Because we have other hobbies. We have other things to do. We talked about this last week in the office with a couple people. No one ever had that condition called reader's neck. You know, when someone used to read a book, they go, oh, you got reader's neck. It didn't exist, did it? No, because it's different than looking at your smartphone. But people go, I'm in the same position. Yes, you are, aren't you? Yeah, you didn't develop a horrible condition. Why is that? Well, you're probably not doing it 9 hours a day. That could be part of it, eh? There's some simple logic there. And even a Kindle, I look at that and say, the book is different. I like the book. There's just something about light that's being emitted. Linda was reading an article about that. You're looking at a screen that's sending certain color lights to you for hours, and we don't know the long-term effect of what that's doing to the surface of your skin. Whether it's going to cause aging, wrinkling, cancer, you have no idea because no one's ever experimented, no one's ever looked at it. And you just assume, well, Samsung sold it to me, it's probably safe. It's like, yeah, there's a lot of things in the grocery store that are dangerous, all right? Just because someone sold it to you doesn't mean it's safe. So just think about those devices. Let's go over to the gym.